welcome sa lahat. And parang ngayon na ulit tayo nagka-gather na ganito karami. Because yung previous, of course, was pandemic. And also, yung mga binagyo kasi yung batch before eh. So, hindi, parang kasama lang po namin yung time na yun is yung mismong panelists. And hindi pa sila magkakasabay. They weren't here together. So, this is the biggest crowd again for Patikim after a while. So, ang saya. Everyone is here. And even, syempre, ang ating mga alumni, aside from our guests and of course our panelists, all the way pa po from Cebu. So, he flew in pa po for you guys. So, to give you an idea po what is the Linangan Art Residency and specifically what is the Amuyong Mentorship Program, which is yung program po na itong mga batch natin. It is an 8-week intensive program. So, it's a mentorship program. Hindi lang po siya yung ating usual residency na parang studio. Marami po tayong input. In the 8 weeks that they were here, they had art history classes and also mentorship. And they also did response artworks for each of those classes. So that's why yung iba pong works na you will see here are responding to those lessons. From all the way from Cebu, Dr. Shaw Montera, Dennis Montera of UP Cebu and also of the NCCA. Siya po ang ating head ng Visual Arts Department of the NCCA. Ate Kay Oyek, hindi Jill of all trades. She's a writer, she's a visual artist, performance artist. Siya nga rin ay shortlisted for the Purita Ka-Aloud. So, parang mga ni Carla rin. So, also, rin siya, very ate and nanay ng maraming artists in so many ways, facilitating a lot of opportunities and exposure sa ating, even for young artists din. So, ayan, maraming salamat kay Ate Kay sa mga pagtatrabaho at pagkalinga. And of course, Bjorn Calleja, our third panelist. Isa siyang, well, I think a lot of us have heard him. Of course, sa contemporary Philippine art, he's one of the unmissable figures. And syempre recently, dun sa last year's art fair, meron din silang major feature siya ng special projects.
There's a free chair here if anyone wants to sit, but if you're comfortable, feel free to stay there. Yeah, so this space, the way you see it is generally the way it was when I was working in it, especially this area here. My intention for this space and my intention in coming here, or what I wanted to bring from my practice here, was the creation or curation of space that people could gather in, I suppose. Yes, I'm from Canada. I'm currently based in so-called Vancouver, and I'm from Calgary, Alberta. And in Vancouver, I have found the most reward in finding a way to acquire resources and be able to share them, I suppose. And that mostly includes space and the way that space is designed. I think that our space has a large effect on our mental health and the way we feel. I personally, if my room is messy, I can't focus on anything. So yeah, I tried to create something here that combined actually the works of all of us and made us feel comfortable, a place to hang out. So throughout the day, if you're feeling tired, I hope that this can be like a little bit of a quiet sanctuary, semi-quiet sanctuary. We might be loud down here, hopefully sometimes. So the works that I made particularly are these two chairs over here, the ears over there, most of these rings. What else? The sword on the table, the shelf on the balcony. There's a little glasswork hanging there as well, and over there. And this installation right here, as well as the painting up on the wall back there. So as far as actual production, that is what I came up with while I was here at the residency. And I consider the space itself to be the main focus. I guess my practice involves collecting practices, so I can never make the same thing twice. I'm always trying new materials. And in that way, it makes my work pretty unmarketable, which sometimes I struggle with, but maybe that's fine. Particularly in Canada, a lot of artists get most of their funds and money from grants. So marketability and selling work is less important to Canadian artists. So in that way, we have the privilege of exploring in these kind of ways. Yeah. The main activity that I found myself doing in this space was sweeping, actually. Because leaves blow in from there and from over here, and there's just like constantly dirt falling from the stairs, which is why I have the Willis over here. I've just been sweeping constantly in here. Especially with everything white like this, I'm just like brushing things off all the time. Yeah. So I hope that everyone can feel comfortable moving around and like touching things and asking questions and just kind of relaxing in this space. Feel free to move chairs. The only things that probably shouldn't be touched are the things that are made out of lead because, as some of you might know, stained glass uses lead. So that up there. And one of these pieces right here, and then there's one over there. But the rings are lead-free, so you can touch those if you want to. Tanya is really stressed out about that.
Based on what you see here, she's a maker of things. And I guess in a similar manner, the space also is very similar to a maker space. This is a concept that is quite prevalent in other countries, the maker space. In terms of the visual arts, I can suggest that defining that space would be important. This one here is already something that you've been working on throughout your residency, and which has evolved actually to not just the pieces of work, but something more experiential for you and your batchmates to, as you've said, feel safe and be comfortable in it. So in that interaction yesterday, I realized that the Bigkis batch, after a long day, would gather around. And when they gather around, this is where the deep conversations happen. So whenever there are conversations like that, everyone has this feeling that this is a space that they can just let go of things and let it out, verbally or action-wise. And because of that, the space evolved into a living space, and not just the works produced here. These are all part of it, and if you have seen, it's quite unique because this is the space wherein the other artists also contributed in. Okay, and it's not just Taylor's work. So I admire this work in that sense because it's open, it's for everybody, yet Taylor still maintained her creation to be a focal point. But overall, it's for everybody. And that is a concept that is seldom thought of by artists who are mostly individualistic, my space, get out. This one is the other way around. So with that, congratulations, Taylor.
Magandang umaga po. Ako si Carla Gamalinda. Galing akong Sampaloc, Manila. And kung alam niyo yung Sampaloc, Manila, no, it's in the dead center of the city. So, city girl talaga. And before coming here, no, na-experience ko sa city. Hindi ko alam kung it's a thing of my generation, but in the city, oftentimes I would wake up na parang kinakabahan na kaagad ako. Kasi parang feeling ko may deadline ako na na-miss. Or may hindi ako na-submit or something. Minsan mararamdaman mo nagpapalpitate ka agad. Unang gising mo pa lang. So, from then pa lang, I've always parang yearned for rest. And when I came here, no, nakita niyo yung landscape. Very green, very restful. So, very peaceful yung lugar na to. So, I was hoping to create pieces that depict pure respite. I was hoping to rest. But as I was starting my first few pieces, contradictions would come out. Na lumalabas yung, okay, nandito ako sa restful place, but somehow I'm still pressuring myself to produce. So, lumalabas yung mga questions na, saan nga ba nanggagaling itong parang pressure to produce? Is it from the place? Sa city nga ba? Or bakit nga ba hindi tayo makapagpahinga ng mabuti? Kahit na sabihin natin nag-beach na tayo, bakit pagbalik natin parang may pagod pa rin. Yan. So, during the residency, I was able to go deeper into the concept of rest. So, isa sa mga lesson namin, no, yung tungkol sa industrial boom during the turn of the century. Tapos, nagbasa ako tungkol sa scientific management ni Fred Taylor. Ito yung konsepto na kailangan, parang paano natin magagawang mas efficient yung trabaho. Itong konsepto na to, quite ironically, no, nung una siyang ginawa, its objective was to make make the lives of the individual and the country more prosperous. It's ironically to free up more time. Para maging mas efficient tayo to free up more time. But what happened, though, parang over time, the more that we created faster, parang the more we wanted more. Yeah. So in time, this ideal became corrupted. So itong mga gawa kong ito, this body of work, reflects these contradictions that I feel na kung titinan niyo yung mga individual pieces, there are parang stories of rest, but also of unrest. Sa huli, sa proseso kong ito, no, siguro tinatry kong i-convince sarili ko na to rest or ang pagpahinga ay isang pag-aklas laban sa mga corrupted na capitalist ideals na nagpa-permeate lalo na sa generation na
your visual language is already there, so parang fluent ka na with your language. Strong yung use mo ng colors, yung form. If you ask me, hinog siya eh. So I think yun nga, parang you just have to push through. Siguro less rest. Or minsan kasi parang for painters, painting is rest, eh, di ba?
Yes,
From the
yeah.
real world. So I think yung tension ng rest and rest is kaya uneasy tayo if we're not doing anything kasi we find rest or comfort in working. You know,
Okay, hi. Ako po si John Mark Katabamo. I'm from Tarlac City. I'm 28 years old. And ayun po, full-time artist. Hopefully. When I found out na makakasali po ako sa Linangan, I really didn't have much time to contemplate kung ano yung gusto kong gawin. Kasi it was about 5 days bago ako makapunta dito. And then, so nung pagdating ko dito, I just said to myself, I wanted to be as experimental with my process, with my ideas, with my concepts as much as possible. Pero also within my own means of painting, and found object sculptures, mga ganun. And ayun, so it became a deep dive into my own parang how my works ended up becoming a deep dive into how I interact with people. How parang paano ako when it comes to my surroundings. And parang it was, I guess, the time for me then parang face those kinds of demons na matagal ko na ding alam na nasa likod ko lang din pero hindi ko pinapansin na I was very standoffish and very parang dismissive of people. And ayun, parang staying here with my fellow batchmates and with staff na wala ka talagang space to hide and all of the people are new, wala kang mapagtataguan talaga. So basically, ayun, I wanted to experiment on that as well. Paano ako makakapag-interact with them. So, with my works, mostly, I wanted to experiment sa pahid, sa how to end up with a finished product. Whether that may be parang multiple layers of paint or parang a singular layer na wet on wet and all that. So basically, my concepts for my work is parang just about it's about not having a space, not having people or not having your own community. Being here and parang at the first few weeks, I was here but I never felt I was part of it. I isolated myself from the community, from the group. So that's how my paintings ended up. Parang they were all facing away. They're all being among themselves and parang not entertaining the fact that there's someone else there.
Sa akin naman, John Marco, I appreciate that alam mo na these are works that is part of a longer progression. I admire that the strokes are very painterly. I admire the experimentation that you are doing with the brushwork, trying to be loose at the same time, trying to be controlling as well. These are part of your journey as a painter. I believe at this point, you are still searching for that visual language that is truly yours, and you will get there. You need more time to spend with your work because there are already instances of technique that I see. I pointed this out yesterday, the translucency and the way you tell yourself that that is a mistake. In fact, they're not. These are your best friends actually in guiding you how you should actually commit more mistakes so that in turn your painterly style will become more loose and you will not be bothered by tradition in terms of what is wrong or right in making a figure, in tonal values. I want you to be free, to be constrained of all these facts that will bring you down actually, instead of just flying with color, flying with translucency, flying with opaqueness, contrast, texture. These elements will guide you, and if you put equal emphasis on that as compared to just the meaning of the work, then you will get there. But my suggestion is spend more time with the painting process. Kasi the more you do it, the more you will find that language that will be truly yours. And then you are already unique as a person. You acknowledge who you are, you know your limitations, and you know how you behave. This will come naturally. So, again, congratulations.
Yes, ako po si Sabala. Nakatira ko ngayon sa Antipolo pero pinanganak ko ka ng Dumaguete sa Cebuano. Ayan, so, bago ko pumasok ng Linangan, inisip kong magdala ng mga sketches, ideas na maaari kong magawa dito sa program. Pero inisip ko din after no na parang ano ba yung intention ko, bakit ako gusto maglinangan. So, iniwan ko yung mga ideas na yon at pumasok ako ng walang dala. Kasi gusto kong matuto at yung gusto kong matutunan, yung gusto kong i-apply dun sa sa canvas at dun sa gusto ko pang experiment gamit yung iba't ibang medium. So, full-time nanay, practicing figurative visual artist, medium eye oil, at may mga sculpture works din ako. Tapos, ginagawa ko ginawa ko dito sa residency ko is, yung images, drawing mo lang ka ng figures nang walang iniisip na kung ano yung maaring konsepto. So, nilatag ko muna yon. Tapos, gumawa ko ng ilan pa. Yun yung naging proseso. Tapos, hinayaan ko yung imahe at yung mood, yung scene na magbigay sa akin nung ano man yung gustong sabihin nung specific na piece na yon. Tapos, nabigyan din ako ng chance na maipinta yung ilang mga activity namin during the program. So, may dalawa akong paintings na nagawa based doon, like yung Linangan na sa kitchen, isa yun. Tapos, naisipan ko rin na ipinta yung mga ilang batchmates ko. Ang goal ko rin is lahat kami, or lahat sila. Tapos yung pinaka-final is yung mga materials na ginamit ko. Pero siguro sa labas, maaari ko pa din siyang ituloy. Ayan, tapos, bago ko naglinangan, may ginagawa akong bread art. Tapos, ang laging tanong sa akin ay, paano ko ipipreserve yung art na yun? Dahil nga, madali siyang masira. So, hindi naman yun yung objective ko sa paggamit ng material. So, okay, 2 minutes na lang. So, naghanap ako ng alternative materials na maaari ko pa rin magamit yung as object yung tinapay na makakapag-create pa rin ako ng mga ideas at ng konsepto na gusto ko. So, gumamit ako during the program, though hindi naman na, familiar naman na ako sa epoxy. Pero hindi ko siya ginagawa sa sarili ko. So, first time ko siyang gawin para sa akin. So, una, ng attempt is kung paano kilalanin yung materyales. So, andun siya sa part na yun. Ayan, so, hinayaan ko lang yung kulay nung epoxy na as is. Gumawa ako ng figure. Tapos nung una, nahirapan akong handle siya kasi nga, parang katulad ng nansag. Sabi nila, nansag pero nagsasag. So, medyo challenging yung part na yun. Diba? Fake news. Medyo scam, ano. Tapos, yung sumunod na imahe na parang naiintindihan ko na kung paano makipag-usap sa kanya. So, medyo naging smooth na yung aming conversation. Tapos, yung pangatlo sa tingin ko, mas naintindihan ko na siya at palagay ko, mas magagawa ko na siya ng maraming ulit pa kapag after nung program. Siguro yung paintings, yung pagka-craft, dati hindi siya intentional. Parang nagiging excuse ko siya kasi nahirapan ako sa figures, no, i-render yung figures, ganyan. So, kinakrap ko to, siko, kamay na lang pinapakita ko. Pero ngayon, mas naintindihan ko na kung bakit ko siya ginagawa. Ginagawa ko siya, kasi nagbibigay siya ng suggestion dun sa viewer na sila yung magtatanong at bubuo kung ano yung kasunod. Yan lang.
Well, for me, since I'm senior journey from yung Zoom meetings natin nung pandemic na hindi ko pa nakita yung actual yung trabaho mo. And then, hanggang sa first solo show mo, hanggang sa, yung my little projects na kinonsinti mo rin naman. I think yung pagka-residency mo, tama lang yung timing. And I'm very happy to see na meron kang mga na-discover na bago sa sarili mo.
Yes po.
At sa practice mo. And sobrang excited ako moving forward na na dala mo na yun sa sarili mo at makikita namin yun sa mga susunod na shows.
So my name is Antonia Baishan. I'm 25 years old from Diliman, Quezon City. A year ago, I came home from Hong Kong. I stayed there for 2 years because of the pandemic. Me and my family made the decision that I go there. Because I was the only one left here so that we can all stay together. Before the pandemic, the volcano erupted. And then before the volcano erupted, I experienced my very first-hand grief. And it's unexpected moments like this that make you question, or at least makes me question, about my place in the universe, my place in time, and the significance of being able to control or to maintain my agency during these unexpected moments. I'm also now in my mid-20s where I have to take more responsibility for not just my own life, but for other people. And for a very long time, I thought that being able to know what I have to do, being able to maintain my routines, and being able to deliver when it's needed was my purpose. That was what I was supposed to do. However, things don't work that way. Life is very unexpected. And how do we deal with this unexpectedness? How do we form our lives over something that we can't control? So, coming into this residency, I came in here with the intent and the 10-meter long piece of paper. I came here with the intent to just give all of my time and all of my effort into creating something that reflected my sentiments towards control versus the unexpected. And the outcome of that intention was this painting here. To give you a background on my process for this painting, this is based off of the bark of the coconut tree. Initially, when I came here, I wasn't familiar with why there were holes on the coconut tree. Why is that the texture of it? I was just interested in it. At first, I thought that it was a natural occurrence done by insects, ani. But Rafi here told me that that's how we're able to climb up the tree and to harvest it. Which for me sparked an idea that was very reflective of what I intended to do. It was a great deal of help for me as well, the mentors, their input about the iconography, the imagery, and the concept of how the texture also resembled scars. Much like a lot of the things that we go through that are unexpected, those things are what become imprinted in our minds. Those are the things that trigger however path we choose to go next. And so my whole process for this was also learning about how to paint with ink, because I used to be an acrylic oil painter. I used to do figurative work. I used to do still lives. And I used to be so obsessed with controlling every aspect of the composition that it took up most of my time. And with ink, you can't do that. You can't control ink and acrylic in the way that you can cover up your mistakes. Ink is a very honest medium. One stroke on the paper, and that'll show through what you intended to do. So this whole process for me was about learning how to let go little by little. And you can see it here in how the strokes progress. You can take a look at it later to see how it goes. But for me, this was a journey of learning and unlearning. It was learning how to be able to flow with my medium, to be able to accept the unexpectedness of this medium. And in a way, it also gave me the biggest reflection that I had for 2 months, was that I don't have to reject unpredictability. I don't have to fight so much to prove myself. I can let go. I can let things happen. And I can appreciate the gift of serendipity.
To appreciate a work like this, you have to look at its formal qualities. First, you have to admire the simplicity of black and white as the main color for the work. And because of its pureness between the tonal value range of light to dark and the grays in between, adds a certain sense of feeling for any viewer. And second is scale. When you do abstract work, nothing can beat a work that is non-figurative and in large scale. This is it. For somebody who was able to pull it off as a residency work, this one really had to go through a process of controlling it from the beginning, and then moving upward is losing it, and realizing also that these are dramatically who you are without even knowing it. And this is the magic of non-figuration, because works like this are very spiritual. And last night I mentioned the yin and the yang, and in a way it is also a form of self-discovery. So at this stage in your career, it's still very linear and you are moving upwards. Continue that path, and next time you know, this will no longer be confined in a vertical space, but rather it's going to flow, just like how it's going to flow with yourself, becoming more mature as an adult. It will harmonize with everything, even to the point of extending out of the paper space or canvas space. And that is where you will be truly free. Very unique, very creative, one of a kind.
Magandang araw po sa lahat. Ako po si Lance Walter Charlemagne, Abuelo Balagtas. Lance na lang po. Galing po ako ng Paumbong, Bulacan. Para lang po may context. Nagtapos po ako ng arkitektura. Tapos, kaya ganito po yung mga imahe na lumabas sa aking mga pyesa. Parang collection siya ng mga disiplina sa arkitektura, ang mga sharp na edges ng mga shapes. Tapos, pinaghalo ko po siya kung saan po ako lumaki, kung ano yung mga nakapaligid sa akin, lalo na sa Bulacan, kung saan kamukha din ng kapaligiran dito sa Linangan. Parang naapektuhan nila ako sa paggawa ng mga pyesa. Kaya may kombinasyon sila ng mga solidong mga shapes, tapos may mga organic or mga free flow. Tapos, ang tawag ko po dito sa space ko ngayon or sa piyesang ginawa ko ay para sa mga nananahan sa dilim. Ito po ay patungkol sa kung ano yung pinanggalingan ko or kung ano yung nais kong iparating sa lahat. Na laging merong dilim na nakatago sa atin, na may forgery ng emotion, lalo pag nilabas natin siya, na may mga vibrant na hindi natin alam kung tunay ba yung nilalabas na emosyon ng tao. Ayan. Tapos, nakasentro din ito sa pagkalunod, sa kalungkutan, sa pag-iisa. Ayun. Tapos, gumawa din pa ako ng installation dito. Yung black box na hindi nyo alam kung ano yung nasa ilalim or kung ano yung nasa loob niya. Parang, same nung concept na sinabi ko na hindi natin alam kung ano yung nasa loob ng mga bagay. Lalo na kung hindi natin sila lubos na kilala. Hindi ito planado. Kasi mahilig din ako maglaro sa mga espasyo, sa space. Nilagay nila dito, tapos gusto ko lang paglaruan kung ano yung, or i-adopt yung lugar na nabigay sa akin. So una, plain walls, white, tapos since mahilig ako mag-design ng mga spaces, ginawan ko siya ng mural para makonekta. makonekta lahat ng kwento ng mga piyesa ko. Since hindi sila isang storya, may kanya-kanya silang storya, yung mga piyesa. Kaya sa pag-install ng lahat na to, gusto ko siyang maging konektado lahat.
Yung mas ayos, depende yun sa kung ano yung totoo sa'yo, di ba? Pero yung narrative naman minsan nasa proseso. Hindi naman kailangan figurative para maging narrative yung trabaho. Minsan yung proseso ng paggawa, pagpinta, yun yung narrative mo. Minsan yung strokes mo, yung gesture mo. Ang painting minsan, ano siya parang conversation siya So, tingin ko may dalawang language ka na ginagamit na sobrang magkaiba. Tapos parang mahirap kausapin kung magkaibang lengguwahe yung ginagamit mo. Tapos, well, parehas yung tone and voice, parehas yung tone at boses ng dalawang works. Pero sobrang magkaibang lengguwahe sila. Personally, syempre yung bias ko, gusto ko yung itong paperwork. Gusto ko yung direction niya. May sarili kang paraan kung paano gumamit ng abstraction. Parang feeling ko mas honest yung sinasabi mo sa kanya. Kahit wala yung hinahanap mong narrative, nakakapagkwento ka ng maayos sa kanya. Kumpara dun sa figure.
Isa po ako local artist sa Mindanao. Galing Tagum City, Davao del Norte. Tawag sa akin na Pinta de Barrio. Kasi barrio galing. Then, yung nalaman ko na nakasali ako ng Linangan, then sobrang pressure. Kasi iba kasi sa amin, iba yung art sa amin kumpara ko dito. Ang layo talaga. Then yung pagdating ko dito, grabe yung kasama namin, yung mga sobrang magagaling. Then doon marami din ako natutunan sa kanila. Then yun, nag-explore din ako sa mga tinoro dito. Wala talaga akong idea, wala talaga. Yung acrylic lang na nalaman ko. And then, doon, nag-explore ako dito. Yung mga klase namin, o anong nakuha ko, explore ko lang din. Then, ito, yung mga exploration ko, texture, reflection namin ng klase namin, baroque type. Then ito, romanticism, American modern art, honeymoon, then kalimutan. Holy Mother. Then pagkatapos kong nag-explore ng texture, then nagpunta din ako ng oil paint. First time ko mag-oil paint. Then meron akong sa sarili ko na ano ba ang gagawin ko? Ano ba yung ipalabas ko na trabaho ko? Yung ano ba ang nandun sa amin, ganyan. Then yun, yung mga experience ko doon siguro, nakuha ko. Then, ito na, yung mga experience na mga baryo doon, mga scenery ng mga farmer, yung mga lumad community. Dito ko lang pinapakita. Then, ito na, yung mga farmers, paano sila namuhay doon. Then, yung mga lumad community, doon, yung mga gawa nila, yung pangayam, yung magkuha ng mga pagkain sa bukid. Then, farmers, kahit isang kahig, isang tuka lang sila, laban pa rin sila kasi wala na. Talaga silang, strong talaga sila. para then ito back task, parang go forward lang talaga sila. Kahit wala lang, konti lang yung sa kanila, then yun, laban pa rin sila.
Ako natutuwa dahil ang ginawa ni Pinta talagang parang bata na nasa tindahan ng mga candy. Oo, pag wala sa kanila tapos nandito siya na kahit anong medium meron, talagang nag-iiba yung energy. So, ibang-iba ito sa mga earlier works mo. Dahil sabi mo nga, walang oil paint doon sa lugar ninyo. And nakakaawa talaga for visual artists. Ngayon, yung paggamit mo sa mga bagong medium, halimbawa, ito yung mga first na mga oil paintings mo, akala mo parang nagpipinta na ng 10 taon di ba? Talagang may technical skill na Pero beyond the skill, talagang yung puso mo, talaga nandun pa rin sa mga tao na naiwan mo doon sa inyo, yung mga lumad. Dahil until now, feel mo yung mga hirap na dinadaanan nila bawat araw. So, nagiging tribute ito mga trabaho mo. Parang nagre-represent ka sa kanila dito. Habang ikaw ay bumibili ng lahat ng candy na talagang nag-happy sa'yo, pero yung puso mo ay nagsishare pa rin na eto ako ngayon, okay ako dahil nakagawa ako ng art. Pero eto yung mga nangyayari sa bayan namin. So, very, very meaningful and we are very happy also that you shared this with us kung sino ka at ano ang nangyayari doon sa inyo. Salamat, Pinta.
Interested din ako malaman kung ano sa mga exploration mo yung pinakabaon mo pabalik sa community kasi alam kong malaking part ng pagkatao mo, ng practice mo, yung immersion mo. 'Di ba? Parang tingin mo sa ano yung accessible doon sa dati mo nang kinalulubugan na community, kung aling exploration, aling technique ang pwede mong i-share sa kanila?
Marami. Yung katulad ng rubber cut, then yung tinuro din nila, dapat ituro ko rin doon sa amin. Dadalhin ko lahat yung paano ko na-mold dito, doon, then paano na halubilo ng ibang tao. First time ko ganun ito, pressure ako. Then, yun talaga, yung ano ang nalalaman ko doon, idalhin ko doon sa amin. Yun talaga ang mission ko. Dito.
Mission!
Hello po sa lahat. Ako po si Jed Aralca po, galing Tagum City, Davao del Norte, Bisaya po. Tapos 19 years old po. Wala po akong nag-start po akong mag-paint, magguhit nung pandemic lang po. Tapos parang wala po akong background din sa arts kaya medyo pa. Ito yung mga gawa ko po. Nung pumasok po ako sa Linangan, wala po akong idea kung anong gagawin ko. Tapos, yun po. Ito po yung mga lumabas. Sobrang layo po sa mga ginagawa ko dati. Kasi yung style ko dati parang mga cartoon. Tapos parang dito na. Yung concept ko po, about sa identity and perfection. Parang interesado po ako sa mga estatwa po na mga biyak at mga putol na estatwa. Kasi po, binibreak ko po yung idea ng perfection. Yes po, sa mga, may mga bitak-bitak po. Tapos, ito po. Dito po sa Linangan, dami po akong mga first time na nagagawa. First time ko pong gumawa gamit yung soft pastel, mga experimental po na mga artwork. Tapos first time ko di pong mag-oil, dito ko pa lang din yung nagagawa. First time ko din po mag-stencil, first time ko din po gamit ng epoxy sa mga tulong po ng mga kasama ko.
Yeah, pero yun nga, what you're showing us is, parang, your potential to be great. Parang hinog ka na, you just need to practice it more. Oo nga, layo. So, kailangan mo lang siya pagpatuloy na i-practice. Kasi, kompleto na siya nandun na yung potential. Parang, huwag ka na lang hihinto.
But more of the conceptualization, nakikita ko yung intelligence, tsaka yung sensitivity, yung sensibilities mo sa work mo. Kasi kumbaga, kung sa ideation ng beauty, perfection, talagang classical sculptures lahat ang ang top of mind natin lahat. So yung literal na pagbasag mo doon sa sculpture na standards of beauty, it reflects din na ito yung gusto mong practice na marami ka pang babasaging iba. Tapos ang gusto ko dun dito sa dalawang magkabilang trabaho mo, na parang nakapare sila, pwede sila magkahiwalay, pwede sila magtabi. Pero pareho silang effective on their own. Kasi sa isang 18-24, nabuo mo na yung kwento. And aside from the panginialam dun sa classical sculpture and making it your own, ginawa mo siyang icon, ginawa mo siyang saintly, ginawa mo siyang holy, yung body as a sacred vessel. Kaya, congratulations.
The beautiful thing about it, because Jen does not have to take revenge on any of those people na naka-hurt sa kanya. In fact, when he signs his work, may love Jen yan, right?
Yes,
so this is a way of treating hate, discrimination through art, and showing that, not everyone is perfect, will resonate. And just by being and doing something creative, and if not beautiful, those people have started to change. And they treat you now differently as they did before. And that is triumph in itself. And as I've said, eto na, let the healing begin. And who knows, when you're completely healed, sky's the limit with what you can do. And we're looking forward to that.
Maraming salamat po sa pagdating ng lahat, no? And I'm so happy that parang through the years, it seems there's always a qualitative, progression as we keep going. And we're so happy with how things are turning up. And siguro i-plug in ko lang yung ilang mga developments lately, no? We just came from Bacolod and Iloilo. Very promising yung mga prospects doon. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but it has a lot to do with how bright the future is for artists, young artists in particular. So this should get you excited because maraming pwedeng mangyari, and it also gives you that drive, to push the boundaries of your creative energies, yung ganon. Well, siguro to say a little bit about this batch, maybe we got too busy with a lot of things on the side, but this is the most laagan na batch, sino nakaintindi noon? Panay po ang pasyal nila, So, yung previous batches didn't have the opportunity to do a lot of traveling and exposure and getting to meet a lot of different kinds of people. But eto, masyado silang nakalat. But it also resulted in them having much less time to work on their pieces. But that's not the point here, We don't really encourage them to come up with their best pieces, but to learn from their experience, no? So parang it takes time probably for their experience here to manifest in their creative processes. No, kasi, and we've seen that. No? We've seen the growth of many of the graduates from this program really flourished. No? We're grateful for people who really take the time, no, to come here and see what's going on and share with us, no, in shaping the future of the art scene in the Philippines.